Hello students, this is Vivek sir and I'll be taking science subject for your class and specifically the physics part of your science subject. So shall we start? The first chapter or the first topic that you are going to learn is electricity. I believe everyone who is watching this video knows about electricity. You have a basic understanding of what electricity is. That is because this is the most common and abundant source of energy used throughout the earth. In fact, even the device on which you are watching this video runs on electricity, isn't it? Now, have you ever observed the charger of your phone or charger of your laptop? There are some numbers written over it, right? Some voltage values, some current values, some power values, and what those values actually mean. Like many of you must be knowing those that also, but I assume like at least some of you do not know what those values actually mean. And that is exactly what we are going to learn in this chapter. You are going to have a thorough conceptual understanding of what electricity is. So we shall move ahead. So what is electricity? Here I'll list a few examples that will demonstrate electricity. Okay, so these are your bulbs or artificial sources of sources of light, all of which run on electricity. Then this is a natural source of electricity. The electricity flow happens between cloud and earth when potential difference is created. Okay, we are going to learn about this later. The next is this is electric substation. This is the place from where the power, electric power is delivered to your home. And these are your household appliances which run on electricity, such as laptops, TV, printers, your phones, your refrigerators, your washing machines, etc. Everything. Now, here is an interesting example. Like you must be wondering why I have used a picture of human brain with some sparks. Okay, you have to understand the entire human body is basically a multicellular organism and all of these cells work in unison. And how is that possible? The brain makes it possible. And how does brain makes it possible? By generating electrical signals. It generates electric impulse and tells what part of your body should be doing what. The next example is relevant for today's time. These are the electric scooters, and these are the recently ones launched by Ola. Okay, the examples are done, but what is the actual definition? If the question comes in exam, what is electricity? What you are going to exactly write? Okay, so this is the thing you are going to write in exam. So electricity is a form of energy generated by moving charges while flowing in a controlled manner. Okay, here two things are important: these charges and controlled manner. Okay, about these charges we are going to learn in subsequent slides, but I'll explain what is meant by controlled manner. See, these charges we are talking about, this exists everywhere in nature, wherever, like even this wall, any wall, plastic bottle, your tree, your air, grass, everything will have these charges. But do you get electric shock when you touch a wall or when you touch a tree? No, right? Or even a wire. Say suppose a wire is laying down on ground, so when you touch it, do you get a shock? No, right? That is because the electricity is not operating in controlled manner. The control manner is established when the electricity is flowing within a circuit. So when the wires are connected in a circuit and the circuit is closed and then the button is pressed, only that time the current will start flowing. And more detail about it we'll see in subsequent slides. Okay, so we said that electricity is a form of energy. So we'll also talk about which are the other forms of energy. See, this is chemical energy. Chemical energy means like the basic example is batteries. And what do batteries do? They will convert chemical energy by a means of chemical reaction into useful electricity. So solar energy, you must have seen solar panels on rooftops. And what these solar panels do? They collect the incident radiation from sun and then store it in a battery, and which is then used in form of useful electricity. Mechanical energy, these are the energy generated by when mechanical objects move, okay, such as steam turbines and wind turbines, okay, which is again stored in some battery and then used as electrical energy. Now thermal energy, the energy that is obtained from heat in thermal power plants. Sometimes this it is used to move the turbines, which in turn generate electricity. Or just the basic thing, you go to your kitchen, how your food is cooked with the help of heat, right, with the help of your heat of from coming from your gas stove. Next is nuclear energy. Like in nuclear plants, what they do is with the help of nuclear fission, they convert nuclear energy into useful electricity. So by now you must be having a good idea that most of this energy, like somehow their final output is electricity only. So that's what I said, right? It is the most abundant and common source of energy used throughout the world. Now, before going ahead, like you need to have an idea of this conductor and non-conductors, or conductors and insulators. So you must have already learned this in your previous classes, that most of the metals are called as good conductors of electricity. That is because of presence of free electrons. And most of the non-metals are bad conductors of electricity, or they are called as insulators. And if you check your wires at your home, what do you see? Most of the time they will be either of copper or aluminum, isn't it? Okay, now we have known what is electricity. Now we'll talk about electric current and how does it flow. Yeah, I have told you, right? I will explain you about electric charge. Okay, so charge is a fundamental property of matter that causes it to experience force when kept in an electric or magnetic field. Now, what does this mean? What is meant by a fundamental property? Okay, fundamental property is a very basic property of any object that defines its existence, such as mass, volume. These are fundamental properties of any substance. Okay, so what can we conclude when we say something has a mass? So whenever some object has a mass, that means it will experience force of gravity when it is kept in a vicinity of another mass. So what do we understand when we say something as a volume? So it means it will occupy some space. Yeah, something has volume means it will occupy some space. So same way, electric charge gives a property of attraction or repulsion. The charge of any object is determined by presence or absence of electron. So here we are not talking about protons or neutrons. Why? Because when we are talking about electricity, these protons and neutrons, they do not move or they do not flow. Only electrons flow. So whenever the electrons are present in excess, we say that that particular object is negatively charged, and whenever the electrons are scarce, means they are less in number, we say that object is positively charged. Yes, so same way we are defining the charges. Charges can be positive or negative pertaining to electric current. So again, we are not considering the neutral charge of neutrons because it is not significant when we are talking about electricity. Okay, what is the symbol for charge? The symbol for charge is Q. So we are going to use these symbols in while solving problems. Okay, and what is the SI unit of charge? It is Coulomb, represented as C. Okay, so we'll be using this while solving problems. Okay, and what is 1 Coulomb equal to? 1 Coulomb is equivalent to all the charge contained within 6 into 10 raised to 18 electrons. You can imagine how big that number is. Okay. So small demonstration of what are positively charged objects, what are negatively charged objects, and what are neut neutral objects. Okay, so positively charged objects in where the number of electrons are less. So negatively charged objects means the number of electrons will be more. And in electrically neutral objects, the number of charges, positive and negative charges will be same. So whenever I say that, like when you touch a certain thing and you do not get a shock, so basically that is because the number of positive and negative charges are equal and there are no free electrons to flow. Okay, now we'll define what is electric current. Okay, so very simple words, it is rate of flow of electric charges or the amount of electric charge flowing through a given area in given time. Say suppose I'll just draw a cross section of a wire over here. Okay, so I'll create a potential difference. This don't worry about potential difference. I'll explain it. This side is positive, side is negative. Okay, so the charge, electric charge that I'm talking about, say suppose it is moving from this side. Okay, electrons will flow from negative side to positive side. Okay, so what is electric current? It is the amount of such electric charges flowing through this cross-sectional area per second or per given time. So this amount of charges flowing through this cross-sectional area per second or per given time is known as electric current. So is that clear? Now, how is the flow? So which direction it flows? Electric current will always flow from positive to negative terminal. Now, do not be confused with what I have drawn over here. This is the flow of electrons. This is not the flow of current. Okay, if electrons or charges are flowing in this direction, current will flow in this direction. Okay, I'll explain this little better in next slides. Yeah, here is the thing. The direction of electric current is always opposite to the direction of electron flow. And how do we calculate this electric current? There is a formula. I equal to Q by T. What is Q? Your Q is charge. And what is T? Time. So either it would be 1 second or it would be given. So we'll see this while solving problems. Okay. So what is the SI unit of electric current? Electric current? It is ampere. Okay, represented as A. And how do we define 1 ampere? 1 ampere is constituted by flow of 1 coulomb of charge per second. So when we talk about this I equal to Q by T, when 1 coulomb charge Q equal to 1 flows through a certain area in 1 second, we say that 1 ampere current is flowing through that wire during that time. And how do we measure electric current? We use a device called as ammeter. And here okay, here is how the ammeter looks. Whenever you'll have electricity practicals, you'll see this device in your lab. Okay, so we'll move ahead. Yes, I was talking about the electron flow and current flow, right? See, if this is a wire, the blue dots that you see, These are the electrons flowing. Electrons are flowing in this direction. And if the electrons are flowing in this direction, the current will flow in this direction. See, electrons will always flow from negative to positive side, and current will always flow from positive to negative side. Okay. Yes. Here is another much better example. See, the green dots are your electrons and red dots are is your electric flow of electric current. See how the green dots are moving. They are moving from negative side to positive side, jumping from one atom to another. These are the free electrons which are free to move. That's why they are jumping from one atom to another until they reach the positive side. Then as the circuit is complete, they will move back to negative side and again flow. And see how the current is flowing. When the charges are jumping from one atom to another, your current is flowing in opposite direction from positive to negative side. Okay. I hope this is the direction of current flow and electron flow is clear. So now we have discussed about electric current and electricity, but this current is not going to flow by itself, right? Even when the circuit is complete, just just if we connect the wires in circuit, it is not going to flow automatically, right? So what do we need? So normally we need a battery. Then why do we need a battery? What does a battery do? It creates the potential difference. Like I just recollect the charger. Just remember the phone charger that I had talked about earlier. There is a voltage rating, right? So something 10 volt, 12 volt, or whatever that value is. That is called as electric potential difference, which causes the electricity to flow. Okay, so we'll see what that exactly is. So before that, we'll have to talk about what is potential. Like you must have heard about potential energy. It is the energy possessed by any body by virtue of its position. Basically means like when you keep something at high level, at higher height, it will have higher potential energy as compared to something that is kept at lower height. Okay, so how it relates to electricity and flow of current, we'll see. Just see this example. I have considered these two cylinders filled with water and connected via pipe such that water is free to flow between these two pipes. And since this fluid is following Pascal's law, the level of water in both of these cylinders will be maintained. Now, what if I asked you to raise the water level of this cylinder without applying any pressure? Like it has to flow from the cylinder 2 to cylinder 1, right? But you cannot apply any pressure or any sort of external force. How you are going to do that? The simple thing, by raising this at a higher potential. So how do we do that? This way. What we have done here is we have raised this cylinder at a higher potential. Then again, when we have raised this at higher potential, it has to obey Pascal's law, right? It has to maintain the level. So how is it going to maintain the level? The water will start flowing from this cylinder to this. And until the level is maintained, water will keep flowing. So that like the idea to get from this, the things will always flow when some gradient is created. So when some potential is created, like temperature, it will always flow from higher temperature to lower temperature. How the pressure flows? It will always flow from higher pressure to lower pressure. Same way, the electricity will also flow when there is a difference in potential. when there is higher potential at one side and lower potential at on other side, electricity will start flowing. So another basic example is rainfall. What causes rainfall? So we are not going to discuss the geography of water cycle here, but just understand that how do clouds move whenever there is a pressure difference between two regions. The clouds from higher pressure region will start flowing to the lower pressure region, and during this process the clouds start cooling down. The water vapor of clouds gets converted into water, that it starts condensing, and when these water droplets are heavy enough, the precipitation starts. Okay, so you get the idea that whenever something has to flow, a potential difference has to be created. Same way in electricity also, we are creating potential difference. So what is meant by electric potential? It is the amount of work done in moving one unit charge from one point to another in a circuit. Same thing we are talking about. Again, say suppose this is your wire, and here we have your our charges. And when will these charges move? If there is some potential difference between this side and this side. And how it can be generated? By making one side positive and the other side negative. And this is achieved, the electrons will automatically start flowing from negative direction to positive direction. Okay, so that is basically how we establish the potential difference. You must have observed your battery, remote battery of like the one side is called as positive and the other side is called as negative. So why it is done? So as to establish the potential difference between two ends. So whenever you connect some wire to it, the circuit gets completed, current starts flowing because of the potential difference. Yeah, here is the definition. Potential difference is the difference in electric potential of 2 points. That is, one side will be positive and the other side will be negative, basically. So how it is calculated? It is work done per unit charge. It is represented as V, will be work done per unit charge. Okay, so this is the formula, and whenever we'll solve the problem, we are going to use this formula. Okay, what is the unit? So why units are important? See, these are very important. Whenever you solve problem, at the end, whatever answer you get, you have to write units. And with that, if you do not write units, your marks will be deducted. Okay. So SI unit of electric potential difference is volts, represented as V. Now we have to define 1 volt. What is 1 volt? 1 volt is defined as potential difference between 2 points in a current carrying conductor when 1 joule of work is done to move a charge of 1 coulomb from one point to another. Okay, to understand this, get back to this formula. When do we say there is a potential difference of 1 volt? When you need W equal to 1 joule, okay, to move a charge of 1 coulomb from one point to another. So when these two values are 1 and 1, when W is 1 and Q is 1, we say that the potential difference between 2 points is 1 volt. Okay. So how do we measure potential difference? Just like the current measuring device is called ammeter, the instrument that is used to measure potential difference or voltage is called as voltmeter. And this is how it appears. If you go to your the science lab, you'll have this device, and during experiment, you are going to learn how it is to be used. So, okay, students, then only this much for today's class. In next class, we are going to study all of this in more detail, such as things such as Ohm's law and how different components of electricity are drawn on paper, and how circuits are designed and how the circuits operate. Okay.